Hi, welcome back to the Modern Mompreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dave Smith. And as you can see, I'm not alone today. Um, we are here with another amazing mompreneur and honestly, a longtime friend, colleague of mine, Tiffany Harris. She is someone I met when we were in high school, y'all. Like in Arlington, we both were in this college prep program. Shout out to Upward Bound. It's an amazing program. Woo woo. And we were both obviously in this program on the college prep track. But the everyone in that program, even still today, we formed such strong bonds and just like it felt like family. I mean, we got memories that we can write a book about. But Tiffany and I have kept in touch, in the midst of getting married. Um, having kids. Tiffany is one of the most intelligent, most beautiful writers that I know. She is a veteran. Thanks for your service. And just such a light and low key hilarious. Like, oh my God, she is freaking funny. So I want to welcome Tiffany to the Modern Mompreneur podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. I'm so happy to have you. So today, Tiffany can share so much about what she does. Like I said, she's a mom, but she is an HR business partner. She's a two-time author. She's on her way to continue to just share her gift of writing. Thank the Lord, because she's so good at it. And raising her three boys. Um, and we actually have sons the same name, one of them at least. And just, being a wife, she's recently relocated to the Atlanta area. We're going to hear all about Tiffany's story. So let me stop talking and let you talk, girl. So tell us who you are and who you serve.
Okay. So Tiffany Harris here. Thank you for that introduction. I'm feeling really good about myself.
You
Those
should. You
things you
should.
just
Yes.
so at my core, I serve moms. Like that's how I really got into everything that I'm doing now. Um, it was centered in my desire to give back to moms because of my own journey through motherhood. And if you're a mom, it's can be tough
Hmm.
at a lot of different points. And so that's kind of what sparked, and we'll get into it later, but that's what really kicked me off with wanting to create journals and books and give back. It was all about motherhood.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So Tiffany has a blog called Journey to Motherhood. And she's so candid in it. She don't hold nothing back about all of the things that we go through. And so, like me, she's speaking to this community and
Mhm.
sharing the ups and downs of managing motherhood and being true to yourself, not getting lost in the title of motherhood, but really embracing all the things that come with it. And so she does that and she lives that life. So tell us about your family, what kind of things have you shared in motherhood and journey to motherhood that you feel like are important?
Okay. So, like they said, I am a mother to three boys, 10, 7, and 3. They keep me busy at all times. And so my blog, so it's Journey to Womanhood, but I write
Oh,
a lot of
got it.
motherhood. Yeah.
Sorry, got it.
I actually went back and forth between whether or not it should be Journey to Motherhood or Journey to Womanhood. So it's funny that you say that. I focused in on womanhood just because kind of what you just said, like all the different titles and how easy it is to get lost in motherhood. I wanted to look at the journey as a woman. So I talk about everything from self care to self awareness to my journey with postpartum depression and antenatal depression. And then I talk about, raising my three Black sons in a world that can often feel scary to raise
Mm,
them in and what that means. And then I talk a lot about sisterhood also, because I'm surrounded by so many successful women. Day is on that list. And like she said, so many of the women within Upward Bound and all of the things that they're doing encourage me to want to take that leap and do the
mhm.
things that have been inside of my heart and desire since I was in the single digits. Like I've
Yeah.
always wanted to be an author and was afraid to do it. And it's funny because giving birth to Jordan, my 3-year-old son, I call him like he was the catalyst, like that, and probably also because it was in the midst of a pandemic, that made me be like, you know what? All these things that God put into my soul to do, why am I not doing them? And
Mm,
so I was cradling a newborn and watching YouTube videos on how to build a blog website. And that
Wow.
is what took, you know, that's how Journey to Womanhood came to be. And that had been a desire for more than a decade, but I was always like, oh, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what I should do. And
Mhm.
after his birth and the pandemic kicked off, it was like, I'm gonna do it. And ever since then, it's just been like little things have happened that kept me going further down that
Mm.
path.
That
Whether
is
it be, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no, go ahead. Whether it be
I was
what?
gonna say even the creation of my motherhood reflections journal, that was because it had been in my spirit, like I needed to create something. How can I get published? Um, and I saw a Facebook ad from Crystal Swain Bates, who is a really accomplished children's book author. And the course was, you know, creating a journal, a prompt journal is a path to becoming published. And I was like, oh, let me take this class. It was like $10. I was like, I'll take it. And then that introduced me to Canva. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
wait, I could get, and then that introduced me like how I could become self-published. And then I just started
Right.
learning more and more things. It was like as soon as I opened up my mind to the possibility, things just started to fall in line. So it's been a really
Wow.
amazing journey the last few years.
That's a beautiful journey. Starting with your why. You had this goal way back when, and I remember even the conversation I had when I was like, "Do you have you ever thought about copywriting?" Because I just thought you was such a great writer. I'm like,
Mm,
there's something there because that's a really, to me, a challenging thing to do. It's everyone can't write well, and you write so well and so authentically, and so I love that you walked into it. And it's something about having those babies that just, it's like you
listen,
give birth to something else. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. I
yes,
had the same experience, when Nova was born. Actually, when Jackson was born, I had him wrapped on me writing a blog too. But that wasn't my
see,
calling. And then when Nova was born, I was like, okay, on my maternity leave, I'm going to get certified as an organizer. I had a whole list of stuff I'm going to do on maternity leave because it's like I don't know if you feel like there's more or you want to do more, but it's something really powerful about, for some women, giving birth, even in the midst of, like you said, postpartum depression. Okay, nursing, raising these babies, you got multiple kids, and you still find time to find something in yourself that you want to create and bring out. And the thing that I love about entrepreneurship, not just mompreneurship, is it's beautiful when you take an idea and you bring it to life. Like
yes.
that's birthing as well. And why not ask an expert like a mom? Why not trust us to do that? We know all about that process,
You know all about it, you
all
know.
about it. Yes, and then the initiative that you took with taking Crystal's class, starting the journal, self-publishing, and now you've expanded to even more things. So any moms listening, you don't have to have all the answers. You can just take it one step at a time. Somebody out there has done it. If you want to know, Tiffany's done all the things. You can connect with her, but you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to have an idea, courage, and the will slash persistence to do it. That's all you need. And God will open doors. People will come into your life. I mean, it's limitless, really. So I like that. I love that journey because that's very real. And so many people can take that and relate to it or say, I want to have that experience too. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
And I really wanted my boys too. Like, I was like, I keep telling them, you know, you can do anything you want to do. Like, if you have a dream, make it come true. And I was like, how can I sit here and say that and mama not doing nothing that
that
she
part.
wants to do? Like, I have
That
all
part.
these things I want to do. And as I've been writing my series, it's funny because I think it was maybe it's at the end of 2021, I started a children's book. Um, and it's actually, I have it on my website. I haven't finished it yet, but it's about my three boys. They have superhero powers, and it's them
Mm,
discovering that they have these powers. And I was struggling with getting it finished. And, you know, I love Tabitha Brown. I guess it was a
yeah.
few months ago. I happened to be on Instagram. She was at the end of one of her little talks, and she said, "Honey, that thing you've been saying that you wanted to do, why haven't you done it?" I was like, "Ah, okay, Auntie Tab." And that
Anti-tab.
I went home and I wrote the first book for Jordy Bear's Big Boy Adventure series. And I was like, I keep trying to do these big things, you know,
Mm,
superhero book was going to be, it's going to be a chapter book, and I'm actually going to make it into a series now. But I was like, I keep trying to do this big thing. Like, what is something that I can do that I can just focus in on? I can get it done. And it's, a 20-page children's book.
Yeah,
That led me to discovering Fiverr and how you hire an illustrator. And then,
talk about it.
there's copyright. Like, it's all these different things. But
Yeah,
every time I opened one door, it was like, oh, okay, let me look just around the river bend. And there's something else that, I
that
can
can
add
hook
to
you
this.
up, right?
Right.
These things we
So,
knew nothing about. And I like, first of all, I love Auntie Tab and her husband, like the whole relationship. They're so funny. I love them. She's like, mind your business. That's my favorite part. But I've talked to several moms on this podcast specifically about that point you made about the thing you're doing for your children. So a lot of times you think mompreneurship, it can feel like a selfish thing. I'm doing it for me, or at least maybe that's my own paradigm I'm like struggling with.
yeah,
But you're doing it for your kids. Like they not only are you specifically creating something for them, like literally they can really take that business of you mom created a book and that's a legacy. That's something that they're always gonna have out in the world that has
ex-
their name on it. Kids are gonna know about them. It is the same thing along the lines as like investing in real estate for your kids. Like it's theirs. They have it and it can grow. And also you teaching them the valuable lesson of, seeing your mom follow her dreams, because we do say you can do anything you want to do. But how many times our parents are stuck in jobs that they hated and they're
this,
making ends meet and they're not living their dreams. They're telling us to do it, but sometimes the best teachers are, living through by example and seeing someone doing it. And you're giving them that. And I think that any mom who has kids who's starting a business, there's so much value in what you're teaching your kids, things you won't even know. So
exactly. Just
speaking
seeing
of
you.
them,
Yeah.
exactly. So I know Jackson's 10, so he may be able to communicate more. What has he said about your books, or has he said anything about you being a writer? Tell me about what he thinks.
Excited about it. Matter of fact, I have Jackson. I'm gonna make him a co-author on the book that I'm writing for him because he's helped me out with it. It's a book. It's
Wow.
called The Buzzer Beater. So I have it finished, but I need to hire an illustrator. And so he knows like mommy's gonna write a book, and all three of them know. Matter of fact, I took a video of Jordy Bear. I had got the proof copies for the book, and I was like, Jordan, this is the book with you. And he's like flipping through it. And he was like, that's Jordy Bear. I was like, yeah, baby, that's you. And
Oh,
in that moment, I was like, oh my God. Like it makes me almost want to cry because it's like, eventually he's going to have kids. And then he's going to read the book that I wrote about him
hmm
to my grandchildren. Like just when you talk about legacy, like it was like this aha moment, like, oh my God, girl, you're like, you are living in the dream that you had and you're seeing it, come to.
yes,
And
yes,
so
yes.
three of them, and I have a book for Jameson too. I'm finishing building it, but all the books that I wrote for them, like his is called The Art Competition because he's an artist. And so
Oh,
that one is going to be published in the next couple of months. But I just showed him like the illustrations and he was like, this is my book. This is the one mommy wrote for me. So
oh,
they like, they're so excited to like get the physical copies of it.
of
And then I'm
course.
Jackson because he is a bit more mature because he's 10. And I was like, I tell him about all the struggles that I'm having. So like if they see me in here on the computer and they see me building the website, like I told him, mommy had to restart her whole website because I made a mistake. I said, and it took me hours. I said, but mommy didn't give up. She kept on going the same way. I don't want you to give up when things are tough. What is the lesson that you're learning in the midst of that? So I tried to I want to be transparent with them, like when I'm struggling or when I've made an error or a mistake.
Mhm,
And like when I got the proof copies, I was like, now I'm checking the work that I did because I have to make sure it's right before I publish it. So I've
mhm.
been trying to share the journey with them, so they're all excited.
That's that is so first of all, when you talk about them reading it, like I just got like the hairs on my arm stood up because I'm thinking about that moment. You say you recorded it, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's in one of my TikToks. Like I have Jordan. He's sitting on one of my dirty dining room chairs because them boys spill food all the time,
they
and he's
boys.
like looking in the book and he's looking at the images, and I was like, oh my God, like yes, baby, that is you. Like
Yeah,
mommy wrote this book for you.
that is a moment. Oh my gosh, like that's so inspiring to see them, for them to see themselves in that, and so I mean, that's amazing. And you're like you did it all yourself, girl. I mean, you like finding
Well,
it, getting you an illustrator. If y'all are out there and you are an illustrator, she needs you. So go on and hit her
please
up real
do.
quick. And
It
she's
can be
like,
hard on Friday. You don't know who you're gonna get. I've been
right?
pretty with the
Okay.
illustration
Yeah.
part, but it's
Good.
still hard.
And I love that you share the struggle because, again, you are teaching them life lessons. And it's so good for them to be able to see through example how you overcome. I try to do that with my son as well, like teaching him about, just communication between me and his dad. Like I'm like, we may fuss, we may argue, but we come back, we apologize. It's still loving. Like there's nothing he can do or I can do to make us not love each other. And like I tell Jackson that like you can always come to me if we don't agree, you can get mad. Like you have to show kids the real side of life. Like you make mistakes. I make mistakes. This is how we fix them. Because otherwise, they're not going to learn it, or trust it in the right way. And so you really are showing them life skills that's going to help them be more emotionally intelligent and just more in depth to handle life, right? I mean, that's what it's about. So I love
Yeah.
that. Good
Yeah.
job, Mama. Y'all, we all need to do this, okay? Get your kids some books. I mean, personalize them. Let Tiffany write them for you. They can see themselves,
Yeah.
especially our brown and black kids. I'm just going to be
Yeah.
real because, I mean, now it's more visible, but we want to make sure they see themselves in the images that that are presented to them as much as possible, so they
Yeah.
can have pride and honor in themselves to be able to be confident human beings, and also making sure that we are just bringing them into our journey. Don't feel like mompreneurship should be just your thing. It's a family thing. Okay. Your husband, your spouse, whoever, your significant other, your kids, bring them in. It'll make them way more supportive and invested because it really is for them. I mean, I know mine is like, let's work together. Let's do this
Yeah.
together.
And the way
Yeah.
that you do those things, like I said, like what you're doing, what Angela's doing, what Trisha's doing, Trace, like
These are
seeing
overbound folks, by the way. She's dropping names. We all doing things. Go ahead.
seeing all of them like accomplish things. And then
Hmm.
my other friends too, like just watching other women pursue things and do it well. And then hearing about like the journey. Because a lot of times you can see it and be like, how did they get there? Or, how can I get there? It can feel almost like it's something that you can't accomplish.
Mm,
But witnessing other people's journey helps you to realize like you could do it. It's the same thing when I gave birth to my boys. Like I gave birth naturally to all three. But I read this
that's,
book um,
yeah.
from Ina May Gaskin called, what is it called? I think it's called Childbirth, maybe. She's like one of the most famous midwives. And as I was reading that
Okay.
book and preparing for birth, I had like this thing inside of me that said, if they can do it, I can do it. Like, what makes them different than me? Like, they're
Hmm.
just a person. And so that's
Hmm.
what I think about. Like, as I encounter struggles on this path, it's like, okay, if that person can do it, who says I can't? Like, I'm sure they had
Yeah.
the same exact path. They had to figure it out. And so that's
Yep.
what I always fall back on. Like, anything they can do, I can do. Like, it's just
That's
a matter
right.
of don't do it. That's really what it boils
Yep.
down to.
And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You're not the first person to write a children's book. Somebody's figured it out and been successful. Like you say, just go ask them,
Yeah.
I did the same thing for our network of women. We have, like I said, like Trisha,
Mhm.
she and I have been connected because she's a successful entrepreneur. And I'm like, how'd you do it? Show me, let's figure this out. But you find your community, you find your tribe. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast because I felt like there was nobody doing what I'm doing. I was
Mhm.
misled, but I thought there was no one working with kids, starting a business, and a husband that works full time. I was like, who's doing this crazy stuff? That I need some help. And I didn't see a lot. But once I got in, I found, oh, it's a whole bunch of us. And we need to come together and help each other out. So this podcast is just that. Anybody who says, I'm a mompreneur, I'm modern, they can hear anyone's story on this podcast and get inspired. Like everyone has. I've even had moms whose kids are grown. I've had dadpreneurs that's coming out later. They all can share, and you're like, man, okay, I can do it. Like that little nugget, that's all it is. So
That's what it
I love
takes.
that. That's
Yeah.
all it
It's like
takes.
my shirt says,
We have
I'm They're doing all the things. This
The
is from a
things.
mompreneur, Meaningful Mood.
It's
Yes, she's on
ooh.
Meaningful Mood. She has all these different type of shirts, but I bought this specifically for this podcast. I was like, I'm gonna wear my shirt because I'm just out here doing all the things,
Show it
just
up.
trying to
Let us see it. Let us see it.
just doing all the things.
Oh, it's scripture. Okay.
Yes, it's from it's
Love
she's
it.
on Instagram, A Meaningful Mood.
A meaningful move. We got to get her on the podcast. So if y'all
Listen,
know this lady, and you said Tab Brown, I'm like, ooh, she's goals to have her on the
listen,
podcast, right?
it would be
Yes,
awesome.
I'm gonna shoot my shot. I'm gonna shoot my shot.
You put it out,
Um,
the universe will give it to you.
yes. Okay, so let's transition and talk about, well, we've kind of touched on both. The business. Let me ask you this. What do you feel like are some adjustments that you've had to make in balancing the career, the business, and the family?
Um, you know, I think the adjustments have been more like maybe I don't get to binge a show that I want to binge because instead I'm going to spend a few hours on my website. So a lot of times, whether it be my website or working in Canva to create my books, what happens is at nighttime, like I'll put Jordan to sleep. And then I may sit on my computer for a couple of hours just trying to figure out, like, edit and put things together and how I'm going to publish it. And was in here for, oh my goodness, like I think it took about 6 weeks just watching the same YouTube video that was like a 5-hour tutorial to build my author website. So, like, I need to have a website that people can go to see the books, to get the news. And so
Wow.
building that, and then on the weekend, instead of chilling out, or, if my husband is taking Jackson to one of his mini games or taking him somewhere and I'm home with Jordan, then it's instead of watching television, I'm just repurposing the time that I already had to
Yeah.
pursue the things that I want to do. Like a lot of times it'll feel like, I don't know, when am I going to get this done? Or I don't have time to do it. But I would literally be in bed at night. I'm sorry, can you hear that ding? I don't know how to turn
It's
that off.
okay. It's
Okay.
fine. It's life. We're good.
Listen, user error. Like
Right. It's fine.
I put my phone on do not disturb, but this MacBook won't
It's
take them.
okay. It's all connected, and they do what they want to do.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so spending that time, like I would be in the middle of the night. One night, Jordan came because the first book of Jordy Bear's Big Boy Adventures is I Sleep With You, Mommy. And look, it's #real because the boy is 3 and he still will not get out of our bed. It's successful in the book, but I haven't had as much success in real life.
Like, read your book so you can know how to get over there to your bed. This is for
But he
you.
came to my bedside one night, and of course, like, I sleep with you, Mom. And he has his blanket, he has his elephant. And right when he said it, I was like, that's the title. And like I pulled out my phone and I'm like writing down the things. Or I picked him up from daycare one day, and as we were leaving, this is the 4th book in the series. He's like, "That's my best friend, Mommy." I was like, book. And so I get in the car and I'm like writing down my notes. And so it doesn't always have to be like I have this dedicated spot, which is how my brain works. My brain wants to be like, this is the time period that I'm going to do this. I have to plan it this way. But this journey
Mhm.
has shown me that I need to be flexible. Like I'm not always going to have that dedicated time. I have 3 kids, a whole husband, a whole career.
Oh, yes.
Like I have to get in where I fit in. If we're at the park, I have my phone out and I'm like writing down notes or writing down the next story. I'm just making it work when it's there. So that's been, I think, the struggle or the lesson
Yeah.
learned there is that it doesn't have to look perfect.
We're going to transition to my favorite part of the podcast, and that's the lightning round. So, the lightning round is where I ask you a series of questions, and whatever comes off the top of in your mind, you say it. You don't even
Okay.
have to explain it. You just go with it. Okay? You
All right.
ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm
All
nervous.
right. It's okay. You got it. 3 words to describe you today.
Okay. I think hopeful, flexible, and determined.
All right. What would you tell your 18-year-old self today?
Ooh, child. I would say, girl, travel, go see the
Mhm.
world, um, stay in therapy, so you can figure out who you are before you put on the title of mom or wife. And stop trying to be in such a hurry to find a husband, girl. Find yourself first, okay? Because the husband and the children will come. So find yourself first, connect with you, love you, and stop looking outwardly
Mm,
for affirmation. Find that within yourself. Discover your own happiness.
love that. What does it mean to you to be a modern mompreneur?
It means living in my purpose. It means doing all the things. It means finally being my authentic self and leaving a legacy for my babies and my future
Mm,
grandbabies.
oh, yes. What do you love about being a mom?
Now, I'm going to be transparent because I was looking at this question yesterday and I was like, ooh, you know, just like on my blog, I tell the truth.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I'm in a stage of motherhood that is tough. I
Mm,
have three boys at three very different stages in their lives. My 10-year-old, he's entering fifth grade, soon to be middle school, which I can't even believe. And I have my middle
yeah.
son. I'm a hashtag middle child. And so I understand like trying to find your place because you
Yeah.
got the big sibling and you got the little sibling. And it's like, where do
Yeah.
I fit in? And then I have the toddler who would love to get back in utero. And so it is a lot to constantly be needed. Like motherhood is all about someone else needing you and you're trying to help these little humans be their full selves. Meanwhile, you're still trying to discover your full self. Like you're still trying to figure out how you exist in this world. And so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like the thing I love about motherhood is seeing my babies like become who they are and like discover things about themselves. But it's also hard. And I wish we were more transparent with moms, like our parents
Mm,
just in general. Like this is not for the faint of heart. Like this is hard. And you never
mm,
stop being a parent to the
mm-mm.
day you die. And
Yes.
I'm sure from beyond too, because I know, like,
You
I feel like
still
my
call your
grandma,
mama. Miss,
right?
you
And
still call
still,
Miss Huddleston. Like, I need you right here, real
right.
quick. Yeah.
And so it's hard. It is a hard journey. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
not a mama yet, I want you to know that. Like I tell them, I have this mentee, and we talk every couple of weeks. She's like 26, and she like feels like she's like it's too late. And I was like, girl, do not get married right now. Like
Mm-mm.
live your life, honey. Motherhood will come, children will come, but you
Mm-hmm.
could not get your 20s back. Like it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be there for you. So
Yep. That's
yeah, that
good.
was a
You're
long-winded
pouring into
answer.
her.
Yeah.
No,
It's
it's
all
good. You share some real. We needed to hear that.
yeah.
Everyone needed to hear. I needed to hear that myself. So yes, so I relate. Okay. I know you're gonna have some good answers here. What are you reading, watching, and listening to?
Okay, so I'm reading this book. I think her name is Brianna Wiest, and it's called "The Mountain Is You," and it's all about like self sabotage, like overcoming self sabotage. And I'm telling you, when I read this book, I be like, "Listen here, Heffa, like you're not about to tell me about my life on every
Oh,
single page."
what?
I can't tell
Okay.
you the amount of screenshots I've taken and like sent to people. Like, y'all have got to get this book because how does
Oh.
she know my life? Like, you don't know me, but it is such an excellent book. Matter of fact, I think I have it here. Where is it
Yeah,
at?
hold it up, so we can
Let me
get the.
see. I got so many drawers with books over here.
Tiffany is an avid reader. I would ask her, "What should I read?"
Where is my book? I think it must be in one of my purses somewhere. It's probably in a purse, but
That's okay. It
the
said it's
mountain.
the mountain is you, Brianna Weiss.
Yeah, and it's Wiest. I think is how you spell her last
Got
name.
it.
It's a
That's how I
black
spelled it.
book, like with a little mountain on it. And
Okay.
so I love that book. And then you said, what am I listening to? I've
Hmm.
been listening to Alan Stone. I actually discovered him. I was watching the latest season of American Idol, and he was one of the coaches. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, who is he? I fell in love with his sound. So him, and I discovered Noah Cyrus on there too. She's related to Miley Cyrus, but she has a completely different sound.
Oh,
Um, Always Beyonce. Like I'm getting ready
amazing.
for the concert in
The
September.
concert. Yay.
Coming back to Texas to go to the concert for my birthday.
Wait a minute, you gonna come back. Okay.
Coming to Texas. And then who else? Alan Stone, Noah Cyrus, Always Beyonce. I still love SZA's most recent album. That gets me
Okay.
going. And then Kendrick Lamar if I'm at the gym. Like I love Kendrick Lamar. He gets me going at the gym.
Love
And
it.
then what am I
Love it.
watching? Um, okay. I love like survivalist shows. And so there's this show on Netflix called Alone, where these
Mhm.
survivalist experts like go into the wilderness and survive for, 100 days
Ooh,
and win money. And they have to like build their shelter, kill their food. Like, I
ooh.
love it.
Oh Lord.
We just finished Silo on Apple TV. That was an excellent show. And it's based on a book
Silo.
series too. And then The Witcher is back. So I love The Witcher. And then I
Okay.
just started rewatching Insecure. I've already watched it once before.
I just started rewatching it.
I
Yes,
was like,
I'm on
"Oh,
like
let me
season three.
watch."
I
See?
don't know. I think that was something that they advertised. I was like, oh, I
Yes,
want to go through that again. It was good.
exactly. I
That's
wanna
so
go through
funny.
that journey. Were those the 3? Reading, watching, listening to?
Yeah, reading, watching, listening to.
Yep.
Perfect. Yes, so well-rounded. I'm always impressed at how well-rounded you are with your reading selection and working on yourself. I know you've even given me like I've watched you talk about parenting books too, which is I was like,
Yes.
people reading about how to be parents. I need to get it,
Listen, I need help. Well, the
I
other
need you to.
I forgot to take the other book. My girlfriend Keisha, Dr. Keisha Ray, she's a professor. She just got tenured. She told me about
Nice.
this book called The Silent Patient, and I had given up fiction books like a decade ago. So I was like, I'm just only going to read self help and nonfiction books.
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
I'm reading nonfiction books. And she posted about this book on vacation, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I was like, but I haven't read a fiction book in forever because I've only wanted to learn from what I was reading. And she was like, girl, you can learn from reading fiction too. I was like, you know what? You're right. When I tell
Mm.
you, I read that book in like 2 days on vacation with my best friend in Cancun. Like I was sitting poolside reading the book and it was so good. It's called The Silent Patient. It's like a mystery thriller. And the
Oh,
author's name is Alex, and I'm a butcher his last name, but it's like Michaelides. It's Michaledes, maybe, but it was an excellent book.
okay. The silent patient. Okay. Nice. So, I like that we got all these books and audio and all that. 'Cause I think this could even be like a modern mompreneur list, because it's
Oh,
so many
yes.
good that people have read. So love that. All right. Now, my last question. What is bringing you joy right now?
I think writing has always, it's been my outlet. It's been, what helps to center me. And
Mm.
so actually, like, I almost look at myself like, what is it called? Like a third person view. Like as I'm watching myself finish these books and publish these books and like do all the things, that's what's really bringing me joy because I feel like I feel like I'm on the right path. Like I'm walking down the path that's always been where I was supposed to be, and I'm almost like an observer of myself on that path. And so that's
Mm.
what's bringing me joy right now. It's bringing me a little anxiety too because it's scary when you start to do
Yeah.
the thing you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
um but it was bringing me joy too. Like I'm losing out on sleep because I'm like, oh, I just need to finish this one thing. Like,
Mm.
but it brings me so much excitement to see it come to fruition, to see it come true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what you want. And when you in your passion and your zone of genius, it doesn't feel like work. And I
Yeah,
get those late nights and early mornings because that's my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean,
yeah,
I'll easily give up binge watching if I can work on something that I
exactly.
really enjoy. So yeah, but there's balance. Like you still have that in your life, of course. So
Yeah.
good. Well, thank you for doing the lightning round. You did great. It was amazing. Great stuff shared, great books and all that. So thank you. Well, as we close out, I want to just thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm so happy. I feel very privileged to have people that I know like friends that can come on here and speak and drop gems and just like be such amazing women to share. Like I'm honored to be in this group, in the circle with people like you.
Mm.
Um my circle is bomb. I mean, I'm just gonna say
Okay.
it. It really is. Um I'm blessed in that way. But how can people connect with you?
Okay, so I have to run down all my things. So I have my
And
website.
you can say it and we'll put it in the show notes, but definitely tell us verbally.
So my first blog, my baby website is journeytowomanhood.com. And then if you want to connect as far as my children's books, that would be tiffanyharrisauthor.com. And then on Instagram, I'm either at Journey to Womanhood blog with underscores in between each
Mhm.
word, or at Books by Tiffany on
Mhm.
Instagram also. And then on TikTok, I think I'm at Books. No, listen, girl, I got too many. On TikTok, I think I'm at Books by Tiffany also. So
Okay.
they're all
I like
linked to
that.
my website. But I was trying to like, how do I, that's another thing, another lesson. You got to market yourself. Like people have to know who they're looking for when you're doing it.
Yeah.
So put your name on it. So yeah,
Books
so
by
that's
Tiffany, Journey to Womanhood,
yes.
and Tiffany Harris author. So we'll put all those in the show notes. You can find Tiffany and be able to either get inspired from the blog and the journals or go and find out more about her books. She has more coming out, so she'll be a writer for the rest of her life. Like she was 9 years old, sharing her story, and you can learn about maybe one day we'll have a process she'll share, like how do you do this, and she'll be the inspiration for us to continue to put our stories out there. So I'll put all that in the show notes. But again, thank you so much, Tiffany. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm so happy for you walking into your purpose and sharing your gifts that God has clearly given you and you only. And it's so beautiful to watch you along this path. And I'm just here to support you however you need me to. So anything you'd like to say to close out?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for creating this platform and for you living authentically, because then that gives other women permission to do it. I know I've told you privately, but I'll tell you on your platform, like watching you on your path really made me realize, hold on now, I can do it too. Like Day's out here doing all the things. Like I want to do all the things. She's a mama. So I truly appreciate you. I
Oh,
love what you're doing. I love seeing you live in your purpose. One day I'm gonna get my home together, girl. I'm gonna get it organized.
we all, it's okay.
Get this thing
You
out.
got it.
But I appreciate you, helping me as I start. I feel like I'm just an infant on this journey, and sky is the limit.
Look,
So
you can
I
build a website and I cannot. So let's just start there.
you
Okay.
can organize a home that I cannot. So
Yes. So thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful. So so grateful. I'm gonna have to take a screenshot and send to Miss Thompson.
I need to
You
reach
know
out to her. I gotta talk to this time. Not to
that
just her forever.
that's our Upward Bound director. She's like the woman that does it all. Talk about all the things. She's
Right.
been doing it for years, but yeah, so if you enjoyed this episode, I want you to subscribe to the Modern Mompreneur podcast, of course. Leave us a review, but also follow Tiffany, follow her journey, connect with her on all the platforms, TikTok, Instagram, her website, subscribe to her blog. If you enjoyed this episode, share with another mompreneur, share with someone who is inspiring to be an author, someone who is, on the fence about writing a book. Hear Tiffany's story and just share, the journey of mompreneuring, because we all need this tribe and community because we're not alone. You, like Tiffany said, if we can do it, you can do it too. So until next time, y'all have a great one. And thank you for listening to the Modern Mompreneur podcast.
Hi.